Hey guys, welcome to my October Horror Movies Month video. You guys know what this is all about if you've been keeping an eye on my previous videos. So you guys know that basically I'm going to be talking about zombie films in this for this week. I have a lot of zombie films, just like again my monster movies and my paranormal. Probably not as many as some of you out there that collect or have a huge collection of films that's even larger than mine. But I have a pretty decent amount of zombie films in my collection as well. So I'm not going to cover all of them. I'm just going to cover what I consider to be my favorite zombie films in the genre. All right. So before anything, guys, as always, like my video if you like what I'm going to show you and what I have to say about each film. Subscribe to my channel so you guys can just be on top of everything that I got coming out. All right. So let's get started. I don't know where I'm going to begin. This is going to be all out of order, as I got like different little piles here and there. But bear with me anyway. So. I'm going to get started anyway with the most obvious thing. Well, maybe not the most obvious of videos, but what I have here is the Resident Evil box set collection, which includes actually the first 4 films. And I also have the, before it falls, the Resident Evil Damnation video that came out, full-length CGI film. And I also have Resident Evil Retribution in steel bookcase. Now, what I want to say in particular about this particular series is that, at least out of this collection, the films that I actually enjoyed from the Resident Evil series are, let's see, is of course, the first Resident Evil film, and Resident Evil Extinction, right? And I also have to say that I also do like Resident Evil Retribution as well. I mean, these 3 out of the 5, I think it's 5, right? Out of the 5 that have been released so far are, in my opinion, the best ones, for the fact that they stuck pretty close to the whole premise of the original games, and they were shot very well. They were unique in terms of trying to present some of the monsters from the games into the actual films, which is always pretty cool. And I have to give the director credit for pretty much taking this task, knowing that it has a very huge video game following, and bringing it to the big screen. And for the most part, despite the fact that he's had some hits and misses, for the most part he did a fair job. I have to give Paul W.S. Anderson credit for doing a fairly decent job in bringing these films together. And of course the full CGI film is unbelievable. If you want a really faithful or close to faithful adaptation of the Resident Evil games, it's this. I mean, this is the sequel, because there was another one that came out previously, which was Resident Evil, I think it was Degeneration, and I saw that one. It was okay, but this one blows that one out of the water completely. I really enjoyed this one a lot. I was surprised at how well it came out. So definitely this one, if you guys haven't seen it, definitely check that out. The next thing that I'm going to show you right here now is these other things that are on DVD, and the first one is this film called Dawn of the Dead, which I would say basically is a combination of a classical George Romero zombie film, but also mixed in with elements of Shaun of the Dead, because it is fun. It's really kind of like a zombie comedy, but instead, of course, it being with British people, it's actually with Hispanics or Cubans, actually, because it takes place in Cuba. But I have to say that this one was actually a lot of fun. It was really funny. It's in Spanish. It has subtitles. But it's definitely worth a check. So if you have the opportunity to actually find this one or rent it, definitely check it out. The next one that I have to show you is something that probably not a lot of people will include in their collections, but again, it is zombie, so I've included it here too. And it's an anime called High School of the Dead. And basically the title pretty much explains what the entire series is about, because this is, I believe, is only the first 12 episodes of this series, so it's like the first season. And basically, like I said, the title explains it all. It's a bunch of high school kids that are trying to escape a zombie apocalypse. And it shows basically what they do as they escape their high school, go into the country, and just trying to survive. And for the most part, I have to say that it has a very decent storyline behind it. You get introduced to all these unique characters and where they come from, what their backgrounds are, and their specialty is going to be as they all come together, to fight against the zombie hordes. So definitely this one is another worth one that's, up there to check out. The next film that I have to show you, of course, is a classic, and it is Lucio Fulci's Zombie 2. Now, I managed to snag the 25th anniversary edition special at the New York Comic Con a few years ago, because at the time when I was looking for this, of course, it just went out of print, I think, for the most part. It was very expensive online. And I remember I went to the con and I found this there and I said that I have to get this one because it's one of my favorite films. I had seen it before and I said, you know, I wanted to get this one. And looking at this one special edition is absolutely amazing. The film quality is really improved from earlier editions. I believe this is a 2-disc set, so you have like, you know, the second disc I believe has like special, you know, bonus material. They have interviews with some of the cast members, I believe maybe some of the producers. But overall, this is a great classical film. Lots of really top-notch gore, you know, and blood effects in here. And of course, it has the infamous zombie versus shark and the eye splinter scene in there as well. This is basically where it comes from. If you guys have ever heard of that stuff, and it's definitely something that you should check out and have in your collection, unless if you don't have it. All right, so moving on. The next thing that I have here to show you now are some Blu-rays, and the first one, of course, is the film adaptation of Max Brooks' book, World War Z. Now, I spoke about this particular movie in a previous, I think, video update. And again, I was really surprised at how well this film turned out, despite the fact that I knew that there were a lot of problems during production between, you know, Brad Pitt and the director. But regardless of that, you know, the film came out really well. I mean, it doesn't follow the book exactly. It does still, you know, use some of the material that was in the original book. But for the most part, this film really was actually well done, and it stands fairly well on its own. So I definitely give a lot of credit to, you know, everybody that put this film together. And it's definitely something that I would recommend for you guys to check out if you haven't done so. The next film, of course, that I have here is, like any other, is 28 Days Later. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be, you know, or have this kind of argument as to whether these should be considered zombies or whether it should be part of a zombie, you know, themed video of films. And for the most part, I mean, they're not technically zombies. They're infected people, but they behave the same way. And to me, it's basically the masses, you know, that come under, you know, contamination with some sort of plague, and, you know, the rest of humanity is pretty much on the brink of extinction or something like that, or of just being turned over. So this still, you know, kind of falls under those lines of following that type of premise. And for the most part, again, I love this movie so much. The first 15 minutes really do it for me in this film. Again, the deserted streets of London, the main character, Cillian Murphy, you know, walking around and trying to find other people, not finding anyone. And then until he progresses and finds others, and, you know, that whole thing, you know, keeps going from there. But again, lots of really creepy, you know, images. Very, you know, imaginative or very inventive, you know, on the part of Danny Boyle for what he wanted to create with this movie in terms of trying to revamp the genre of zombies. And he did a good job with this film, so definitely. The next one, of course, is Shaun of the Dead, that I have actually in this nice looking comic book style steel bookcase. And this one, again, it's a lot of fun, lots of laughs. Simon Pegg, Nick Frost. Again, I've said this, you know, before, and I like to compare them as being, you know, kind of like the modern day Abbott and Costello, because they really play well with each other on screen. And this one, again, being the first time that I've ever seen them together on screen, you know, it's a hoot. Again, zombies, it's kind of like a mixture between a romance and a comedy as well, but, you know, with zombies, and it's really a lot of fun. So definitely, you know, something worth checking out if you haven't. The next film that I have to show you is H.P. Lovecraft's The Re-Animator. Now, I have to say that I saw this movie several years ago as part of a TV special, and I really liked the whole concept of, you know, trying to revive the dead through this toxin, and how Jeffrey, you know, Combs goes kind of like a bit of a mad scientist vibe to him in terms of him trying to find this method of being able to reanimate the dead, and he's completely obsessed with it, you know, and starts bringing animals back to life, and then, you know, what happens in the morgue with all the bodies coming back, you know, again, lots of, you know, blood and guts and gore, really good special effects in here. The storyline is absolutely, you know, it's great for an H.P. Lovecraft, you know, so it's definitely something that I would say, watch it if you haven't done so. You should have it in your collection as well, you know, for all zombie fans. The next film that I have to show you here is actually the remake of one of my favorite films, zombie films of all time, and it is Zack Snyder's 2004 Dawn of the Dead. Now, again, I like this movie for what it was, you know, the whole running zombies things in there, you know, having to create something that's technically old already and have, you know, a more modernistic twist to it in order to make it more appealing to modern audiences, or maybe not more appealing to modern audiences, but make modern audiences feel that yes, this is something to be still kind of afraid of, and that's the whole running aspect of it, and just being infected and turning over in a matter of seconds. All that stuff really plays in terms of making this a lot more believable for this time period. But again, in comparison to the original, there is no comparison, honestly. In my honest opinion, there is no comparison. The original is far a lot better than this one because of all the social commentary that's found in George Romero's original film. So, but I mean, regardless of that, this one was still a lot of fun. It was scary, great special effects. Everybody did their part in here. So definitely, I have to give it a thumbs up in it, regardless of that. All right, the next thing that I have here to show you is, and I guess I'm saving the best for last. Let me see. So first, I have Zombieland, which is a nice, funny little film. Zombies. You got Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Emma Stone, Abigail Breslin. Fantastic cast, even with a cameo from Bill Murray, which was hilarious the way that plays out. I mean, it's like, really, man. Yeah, I'm sure everybody's seen this movie, so they know what I have to say. They know what I'm referring to or why I'm laughing or smirking. I mean, this was really just an overall a great film, something that really kind of like just wind the day down. Just come home, watch a zombie film, and say, yeah, I'm gonna watch Zombieland, and it's really cool, a lot of fun. And the next one that I have to show you is Return of the Living Dead on DVD. Again, geez, this may be a classic, came out during the early, mid 80s, but it's a lot of fun for me. Indestructible zombies, the crazy antics and jokes that come through here from all the characters, how they're trying to defend themselves against the zombies, as well as just trying to coexist with each other. And it's really a lot of fun, definitely. Return of the Living Dead is one of the best ones, actually, in that entire trilogy. I mean, 2 has its moments, 3 begins to go a little overboard, and then the later ones, 4 and 5, they were god-awful. It was just basically not even worth checking out. So, definitely, if you haven't seen this movie, I'd definitely say check it out. It's a classic. You should be able to find it anywhere, It is also available on Blu-ray and DVD as well, so definitely pick it up if you haven't done so already. The next film that I have to show you again is, they're labeling it as part of the Lucio Fulci collection, but in actuality, he had nothing to do with this film. They just slapped it on him since it's kind of a continuation of his last one, and that's Zombie 3. Now, the only reason why I'm including this as in this collection, of favorite films is because I love this movie for the fact that it's god-awful. It is so bad of a movie, there's so much inconsistency in terms of the zombies. Some zombies do the shuffling thing, others run. Some zombies try to do the whole grabbing, trying to bite you things. Others are literally throwing, right hooks and uppercuts. Literally zombies fighting, wielding machetes and things like that. It's weird. It's the weirdest zombie movie ever, but it's so bad. It was shot poorly. The dialogue is horrible. Like I said, the zombies, they just do whatever the heck they feel like doing on screen. It is so bad, but it's so good. It's something that definitely you should check out with your friends and just have a Mystery Science Theater 3000 moment with it. So definitely, if you haven't seen this one, check it out. And if you do, watch it with some friends and just tear the shit out of it. Absolutely, just do it. All right, so the next and last 2 films that I have to show you for this video happen to be probably my top favorite zombie films in my entire collection. And of course, they come from the master George Romero himself. And the first one is Day of the Dead, the original, not the piece of garbage crap, remake that was done. But again, there's just something about this film, despite the fact that it is gritty and dark, that I love about it. And I think a lot of it has to do with Captain Rhodes' character, played by Joe Pilato. His performance is so over the top, but it's so good. It's so good how he portrays Captain Rhodes that there is no other villain that could ever be portrayed in cinema that you would love more than Captain Rhodes, more than Joseph Pilato's performance in this film. It's just, I don't know. It's something that I think you actors would aspire to try to imitate. Because it's so over the top, but it's so good on that level. The zombie makeup, phenomenal. Tom Savini and his group did an amazing job with the zombie makeups, the prosthetics, the blood and guts. Absolutely fantastic. It's great. And, despite the fact that it wasn't the original vision that George Romero wanted from his script, right? What he ended up producing here was still, I consider to be one of his best for the original trilogy. Um, there's just so much that goes on in this film that I look at it. It's almost like I'm studying it and analyzing it, in terms of filmmaking and just actors and how they did their thing in here. So definitely something that I have to include in my collection. So Day of the Dead, people, Day of the Dead. And the last one, unless you guys just can't figure it out, my favorite zombie film of all time in my collection would have to be George Romero's original 1978 Dawn of the Dead. Now, there's so much I can say about this film, but I'm not actually going to say it all here. I'm probably going to save it for another video afterwards. But this film basically is what started me on the whole zombie genre to begin with. Well, actually, that's not true. What really started for me and led to this was because of playing the Resident Evil games. That's why I first got introduced into zombies, and from there I kind of made the transition into film, and this was the first zombie movie that I ever saw. Well, maybe not entirely true. I mean, I did remember seeing Return of the Living Dead first, but I only ever saw it in pieces. This was the first zombie movie of its kind that I ever saw in its entirety. And again, there's a lot that I can say, but I'm going to save it for another video. But this one absolutely is a classic, and I love this movie so much. It's been with me for I don't know how many years, and I've come to treasure every moment in this movie. And I know that a lot of you out there also feel the same way, that this is probably one of the best films ever in the George Romero, Dead series. And rightfully so. There's so much that happens in here that, it just seems to kind of like hit on every aspect of society, of life, things like that. So it's so much, being said within the context of zombies, so absolutely, this is definitely something that I really cherish a lot. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's all that I have in my collection. The one thing that I lament not having in my collection, because I would definitely have included in this video, is that I don't have George Romero's original Night of the Living Dead in my collection. I don't know why I never gotten around. I actually do have the remake, the 1990 remake of his Night of the Living Dead that was actually directed by Tom Savini. I actually do have that film, just that for some reason I just can't find it right now. I have it somewhere in my room, because I was watching it maybe like last week or something like that. So I know I have it. I have that movie, and that one is another one that definitely I would have included in this collection. It's just I don't know where the heck it is. But I definitely love that one too. But it's just that I lament not having the original, 1958 version of George Romero's Night of the Living Dead, because I definitely would have added it to this collection as well, because I love that movie too. I love the the remake as well, because it stays really close, really faithful to the original, despite the fact that it changes some of the characters and what they go through, but it's done for a reason anyway. So, and it goes, kind of goes with how George Romero did a lot of his zombie films also. Each of his zombie films, especially the early ones, well, not the early ones, but all of them pretty much reflect something happening in society at that current time. So definitely I appreciate George for doing that kind of stuff. So that's the only thing that I lament not having in my collection, or not having right here to be able to show you guys. But other than that, I mean, this is pretty much it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed my little mini favorite zombie movies in my collection. It was really, a hoot doing it myself and just seeing what I have. So I hope you enjoyed it, and keep collecting stuff, guys. I think next Thursday is Halloween, so I might have a special themed video to kind of close out my October horror movies month series that I have been doing so far. So look forward to that. It's going to be something special, something unique, that I hope you would find, appreciative of me doing. And that's pretty much it, guys. All right, so look forward to that. I should be releasing some other stuff next week as well. Watch my other videos. I'm also doing a October survival horror games series as well to go along with these videos as well. So I've been doing a lot of Resident Evil games so far, but I'm probably going to jump into Dead Space next week. So look forward to that stuff too, guys. All right. So again, thanks for joining me. Like my video, subscribe to my page, guys, for everything else that's going on with me. and I'll see you guys next time.